Hey there, Heather. Hello, there's Jeff Cutter down with me to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video to do with the 91-92 season. We are the Chicago Blackhawks this time around, hopefully trying to repeat our conference final appearance. We are 8-8-1, not too great. Detroit has done great, 11-2-4 to start second in the division, though. Vancouver has done well, Calgary has done well, Montreal and the Rangers have done well with fast starts. San Jose, their inaugural season, they're 3-15 to start. Stephen Leach has a surprising goal scoring lead. He has 13 goals. I didn't think he could do it. Our top scorer, Jeremy Roenick, has 10, if you must know. Um, Gary Roberts, Manuel Hogue, Luke Robitaille, and Kevin Stevens scoring more goals. Doug Gilmour, 23 points. Brian Leach, 23. And Phil Housley, 23. Brent Sutter has 18 points. Barrasso, Cheveldae, Van Beesbrook, the 3 goals against. Well, we played 17 games. We're second. Points percentage. That's where we are. LA would be ahead of Edmonton on points percentage. Well, Islanders technically would be first place in the Patrick on goal on point differential. We have been 6-5 at home, 2-3-1 on the road, so we've played a lot of home games actually. Detroit has yet to lose at home. Calgary has yet to lose at home, despite the fact they've only played 4 games at home out of 17. I don't know why. Boston has been 4-3 at home. Now, Vancouver's 5-2 on the road. Highlights: we have 11 hat tricks. O'Gornick's got a hat trick. Rangers beat the Leafs 9-0. Leach 5-5 tie. Hat trick over Calgary. Memorable games: Islanders San Jose 8-6. What a game on November the 9th. San Jose was up 4-0. Fenton, Bozek, Link, Gatz, and Falloon, and then the Islanders scored 6 straight. Thomas Farrell, McElwain, Thomas, Turgeon, and King. I think Chicago traded away Steve Thomas. We did. We did trade Steve Thomas away because that looks like Steve Thomas. Yeah, Steve Thomas. We traded him away, and Frick, he's been on fire. Return Derek King, Bullen sounds like then Ferraro again, Barazan and Falek. Hartford Montreal, October 14th, when Hartford was up 4-1. Washington Toronto 7-5. Toronto up 3-0. And then Rangers Hartford 5-4 on October 12th when Hartford was down 4-1. So we're going to Montreal. Do 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 boom. So we're on Let's What I Do Hockey, the Hockey Night in Canada French equivalent. Ed Belfort versus Patrick Roy, as it should be. We have Dominic Hasek as a backup. I mean, yeah, Hasek was a great goalie, but he wasn't really the best goalie for Chicago. And then he got traded to Buffalo in the trade that sent Beauregard to Chicago, who really wasn't a good goalie. And then Hasek in '94 came alive. Jimmy Waite and Ray LeBlanc. Well, LeBlanc played for the U.S. in the Olympic team. Montreal with 3 goalies: Patrick Roy, main goalie, Rolly Muehlsen, and Andre Redlight Rasico. Our star players: JR, Stevie Larmer, who once had 880 consecutive games in the regular season, but missed time because of contract dispute. Michel Goulet, the former Quebec player, so Montreal fans kind of know him. Brian Noonan, Noodles as they call him, who played for the 94 Rangers among other of these 92 Blackhawks. Brent Sutter, who we picked up from the Islanders for Adam Creighton and Steve Thomas. So yeah, Steve Thomas didn't really help us out, but yeah, Brent Sutter. We went for the guy playoff experience. Dirk Graham, the first black captain in Stanley Cup Finals history. Look it up, people. Mike Hudson, also part of the 94 team. Rangers. Chris Chelios back in Montreal for the second time, I guess, because I think Chicago Montreal only played like a few times a year. But yeah, Chris Chelios back on form ice. He was traded to Montreal for Danny Savard. No, he was turned to Chicago for Danny Savard. Steve Smith, the Blackhawks picked him up from Edmonton after Edmonton basically booed him out of town. I don't know why. He won 3 fucking cups with them. Greg Gilbert, 94 Ranger. Jocelyn Lemieux, Keith Brown, Mike Peluso, Brian Marchment. Go, Brian Marchment. Stefan Matteau, 94 Ranger. Mike Stapleton, Frank Cusera, Dan Fitzlet, Steve Conroy, Igor Kravchuk, John Tonelli, 24 Jack Montreal. They have Kirk Muller, the former number 2 pick from the Devils, who they sent Stefan Richer to because Richer was struggling, but unfortunately he had mental health issues and Montreal didn't know that at the time. Danny Savard, the former Blackhawks, did some spinoramas for Montreal. Stéphane Lebeau, Brent Gilchrist, Gilbert Dion, Kitchener. And yeah, if the last name sounds familiar, that's right. Gilbert Dion is the younger brother, Marcel Dion. Carbonneau, known as the Shadow, Shane Corson, Mike McPhee, Mike Keane, Sylvain Turgeon, Peter's brother, who was traded to the Montreal in the trade, I think. I think Sylvain Turgeon was traded to Montreal for Claude Lemieux. That trade. Matthew Schneider, Johnny Leclerc, former Flyers icon. Yeah, he started his career with Montreal and had 2 overtime goals in '93. Remember? Russ Courtnall, big mistake by the Leafs to trade him for John frickin' Kordic. Eric Desjardins, good defenseman. Next year he would have a cup hat trick. Peter Zaboda, who was still with Montreal, he defected from the Iron Curtain. Jeje Nenano, Paul DiPietro, Cole Hero the next year. Benoit Brunet, Sylvain Lefebvre, Brian Screwlin, Patrice Brisebois, a youngster, Lyle Oderline, and then some Dominique Partout. Chelios le bout de Montréal, deuxième de la saison, le 6 de Conroy. Dominique Partout. Pénalité Chicago, c'est ça. Montréal. Le beau, 7e de la saison, Lefebvre, 5e de la saison. Un but partout. 3 minutes partout. Agression. Pénalité Montréal, c'est Mollet. Turbo! Avantage numérique. La lama, lama, lama. Ouh! 7e de la saison, le sister Ronique. Chelios. Cheerios, Hadina Chelios. 3 minutes partout. No. 6 minutes partout. Aggression. Pénalité de Blackhawks, Tonali. Montréal, non. Pas de Carbonneau et Corson. Chicago 2, Montréal 1. Dans une période de soirée de hockey Molson à Radio-Canada. 3 minutes partout. Washington, Chicago, pas de but. Montréal, pas de but. 3 minutes partout. Non. 3 minutes partout. Arrêtez de voir Goulet. 4 minutes partout. Arrête Belfort à Stéphane Lebeau. Tir de Stéphane Lebeau. Pénalité au de line. 2 périodes. Dans la deuxième période, Chicago 2, Montréal 1. Ici, le soirée de hockey Molson à Radio-Canada. Chicago, 8 victoires, 8 perdus, 1 égalité. Montréal, 10 victoires, 5 perdus, 3 égalité. Pénalité, Chicago à Peluso. Fouk. Organise. Montréal, non, pas de but. Pénalité, non. là-bas, deuxième de notre match, deuxième de la saison, Detroit, le mini Purdue. Chicago, Chelios, deuxième de la match, troisième de la saison, Gilbert et Sota, les six. Cinquième Purdue, Montréal, pénalité. C'est ça, Boda. Kill the zone. Pas de but de Chicago. For ça, depuis. Ici, Chelios et Odeline. Wow. Chelios obtient de Odeline. La défense, c'est stupide. Split de cochon. Marjorie de Montréal, GG Nano. 5 minutes. Blackhawks de l'avantage numérique de troisième minute. Le but partout agent. Meaning that Daniel's got a 5-minute major, and because of that, it's a 5-minute power play for Chicago. They can score as many goals as they want, and one goal does not kill the power play. Segment killed. Empty net? No. Timing? Empty net? No. Segment killed. They've got this in the bag, I think. They do. Chicago gagne 3-2. Chelios, le premier étoile de la match. Chicago, but de Chelios, Larmer, Chelios, Montréal, debut de Lebeau. Chelios, premier étoile, Lebeau's deuxième étoile et Belfort, troisième étoile de la match. And we get to play Hartford next. So it's a Sunday night at the stadium, Chicago Stadium. Ed Belfort back in net against Kay Whitmore. You know, Hartford had problems and all that. Well, Hartford had goalie problems. Sean Burke would be coming into Hartford to save the franchise, but that was after the 92 season. And after Burke basically held out and played for Canada's Olympic team. Peter Sodorkowitz, the backup, from Polska, the Polish Eagle, if you will, and Frank Pietrangelo came in later in a trade from Pittsburgh at the trade deadline. So Kay Whitmore, basically every kiss begins with K, if you will. The goalie that Vancouver protected in the 93 expansion draft instead of John Van Beesbroek and bit them in the ass because Kay Whitmore, what good was he? Nothing. Anyway, John Cullen for the Whalers, of course, that big Pittsburgh Hartford trade at the deadline, 91. John Cullen, sir. Pat Verbeek, the little ball of hate on the Whalers. Bobby Holik, who would be like Verbeek playing for the Devils. So, yeah, Bobby Holik, future Devil, would do much better. Besides that, Stanislavski, former Penguin. Miguel Anderson, Rob Brown, who we will pick up later in the season. For Steve Conroy, because you see Conroy's name scratched out, that means Hartford does not have Conroy yet. We don't have Rob Brown yet. So, yeah, Conroy would be victimized. Jeff Sanderson, the pride of Hay River, Northwest Territories. Bet you didn't know that. Yvonne Cornerio, I think he scored a big goal for Hartford, didn't he? In the playoffs? I think he did. Andrew Castles, former Hub. Mark Hunter, former Hub. Adam Burt, Mark Bergevin. Yeah, that guy, Mark Bergevin. Randy Kennyworth, who would do better in the Senators organization. Jim McKenzie, James Black, Kevin Dineen, who was the eternal captain of the Whalers, if you will, Brad Shaw, Doug Huda, Michel Picard, Rainy LaDessert, Ed Kredistick, Mark Greek, and John Stevens, the future head coach of the Flyers. 5 minutes into the game, we deliver a hit. Then, agitator, it's a llama. Ooh! His eighth from Brown and Noonan. 4 minutes into the game. More? No. 2 minutes later. Aggression. We get the penalty. Marchment. Damn it. Well, he's a future Whaler, by the way. So now we have to kill the clock. Fortunately for us, nothing happened. And then we score. Go, 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 Dirk. Those golden Dirk grams. Crispy breakfast cereal. Fun. Crispy. Go, go, go. Those golden grams. Crispy funny cereal. Very good to eat. Try to remember the Simpsons episode when they said, go get those golden grams. Get those golden Dirk grams. His fourth from Noonan. Crispy breakfast cereal. Fun to eat. The Hawks are up 2-0. Aluso. They have a chance and they score. John Cullen his 8th from Halikin Brown. Unfortunately, later in life, Cullen would have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, same as Lemieux. 2 minutes later, they score. Halik's 9th from Mark Hunter, the older, and the brother of Dale Spit and Matt Brown. So Halik doing his job. 2 minutes later, damn it. 3 minutes. I'll fight. Mackenzie and Jocelyn Lemieux. Well, I don't think we really need. Probably a hit on Hudson. And Hudson takes the penalty right at the end. It's 2-2 Coreyville to the box. Boom! Partial goal. Stifle! Mike Stapleton, his first from Chelios and center. 3-2. 5 minutes later. No. 2 minutes later. Chance? No. Much later. No. The clock is ticking. And the score, Ronet from Finale and Chelios. It's 4-2. Back to back. Empty nets. Quick to win. From Chelios 5-2. Chris Chelios, what a pair of games he's had. What a job by Chelios. 3 assists in the third period after his 2-goal performance in Montreal. Guys, on fire! And don't you forget it. Montreal beat Washington in the. Our next game is in Los Angeles. I don't know. Could it be Los Angeles? Where's our next game? Where's our next game, guys? There he is. We have Toronto. Oh, original 6. There's your original 6. Hullabaloo against the Leafies. And it will be Eddie the Eagle against Grant Fuhr, 2 of the greatest goalies of all time. Edmonton versus Chicago, if you will. Fuhr, a good goalie in the 80s, and Belfour, a good goalie in the 90s. You see the Leafs, Grant Fuhr, the main guy. Edmonton and Toronto made a massive trade in September 1991 that was big because the Leafs picked up 3 key pieces. Glenn Anderson, Craig Berube, and Grant Fuhr. They sent away Luke Richardson, Vincent Damphousse, Peter Ing, and Scott Fordon. That's it. That was the deal. The Leafs, of course, had that 10-player deal with Calgary, so they don't have Doug Gilmour yet. Neither do they have McCown or Natras. Glenn Anderson played for the 94 Rangers. Wendell Clark, he was named captain after Ramage went to the expansion draft to Minnesota, and Wendell Clark, unfortunately, was injury prone. Dave Ellett, great defenseman, great find for the Leafs in the trade for Winterpeg. Peter Sezel, good player. He would play soccer in Toronto too. Daniel Marowal, Mike Bullard, not the comedian. Canadians will only get that one, but yeah. Robbie Pearson, that was Scott Pearson. That was part of the 3 Belleville Bulls being drafted in 1989 by the Leafs, and they had 3 first-round picks. Brian Bradley, Kitchener. That's right, Brian Bradley, former Kitchener Ranger. Mike Krusheletsky, good guy. Guy LaRose, Lucien Debois, Gary Lehman, former 50-goal scorer for the Leafs. Joe Sacco, the former Boston head coach when they got fired at the worst possible time. Claude Loisel, Mike Leaving Foligno, Craig Berube, still around. Rob Semeta, Bob Rouse around. Alex Kuduniak, number 93 in your programs before Gilmour took it. Todd Gill, who was known for being booed by Leaf fans. Daryl Shannon and Michel Petit. Here we go. 2 minutes into the game. We score! Go, go, go. Those Golden Grams. Crispy breakfast cereal. Fun, tasty to eat. I need to do that one. From Chelios and Gilbert. Hang on one sec. Okay, hopefully I remember. 2 minutes later. Foligno hack Steve Smith. Jackson got to play. Oh, no, we missed. Oh, Pearson missed. Mosquitoes. Ike, do your impression of Michael Peluso's career. His first from Larmer and Stapleton makes it 2-0 Levy. A feeling. 5 minutes later. Sutter. I had a feeling. Pressure? Vincelette. Who the hell has heard that guy? But no penalty. Nope. No harm, no foul. Peluso to the box. Toronto, no. Another chance, Anderson. Nice job by Dolphins. 2-0 Graham and Pelusa. 5 minutes later. W Bay. Yes, Doodles. From Chelio, 3-0. And Chelio's is on fire. Pair of assists today. He had 2 goals in the first game of this set. And then, second game he had 3 assists. Doodles from Chelio's and Smith makes it 4-0. He's on fire. 3 minutes later. Aggressive? Farmer. And they score. Marawa from Ellen and Bradley. Finally, they score on us. 2 minutes later. Chance? No, sir. 3 minutes later. Clark, can we take advantage? We sure can. 5-1. That's a kid in that. Let's call that. From Farmer 5-1. Yeah, I forgot to mention Bertrand's goaltending. Rick Wamsley would be coming to the Leafs in the 10-player deal. Jeff Reese would be the one going to Calgary. And King Felix was just a fresh-faced guy, a few games in the NHL at the time. And then in 93, he took off. I think he was close to being a Calder finalist or something. Was he a Calder finalist? I know that Solani and Juno were. Yeah, I think he was a Calder finalist, wasn't he? 5-1, so we're putting up the Ritz. 2 minutes later. Chance to score? Noonan, no. Much later. Warmer puts it in from Sutter and Tyler for 6-1. Lisa just. Little did we know how good they were the next year. Well, the Gilmore trade helped them, and so did the Intercheck trade. And Ronick scores again from Graham, 7-1. Yeah. Kill the clock. Nope, Sutter. Kill the clock my butt. I'm going to go from 3 makes it 8-1. And the penalty, 8-1. We put the snowman on Toronto. Do you want to build a snowman? 5 goals in 39 minutes on Fuhr, 3 goals in 21 minutes on Potvin. He's weak, this boy is weak. Noonan a pair of goals. Ronick a pair of goals. Yeah, basically putting the snowman on Toronto. Washington be Pittsburgh. It's Saturday night. Oh, gosh, we go back to Toronto. That's the problem. Well, it is Hockey Night in Canada. It is the original 6 team. So, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do that next video. And for the record, we're 11-8-1. We're second behind Detroit, Minnesota, 17 points. St. Louis and Toronto are fighting for 4th place. Vancouver and Calgary and Winnipeg looking good. Edmonton looking good to sneak ahead of LA and San Jose for a spot in the playoffs. Who missed the 92? Yeah, Calgary missed the 92, right? Because I know LA did. Montreal, Boston leading the Islands. Hartford, Quebec, and Buffalo are fighting for those 2 other spots. Remember, top 4 per division. Rangers and Devils looking good. Pittsburgh Islanders, Washington are fighting it out. Philly's not doing so hot. Goal scoring for us. Ronick's got 13. Only Leach, Sevian Leach, Luke Robitaille, Vladdy Rosica, and Gary Roberts are ahead of us. Goaltending Van Beesbrook, Kua, and Chevelday. Belfour's 10th. He's jumped up ahead of it. Billington. Terray's 5-2. He should have better goals against. Well, you never know what could happen. And things can happen. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.